My husband revealed at our anniversary dinner in front of our entire family that he had been having an affair with my sister for 8 months and got her pregnant. Then he said I should stay and be the primary mother because my sister doesn't have maternal instincts and needs to finish school. I, 34F, cannot keep pretending everything is normal anymore. My husband Arthur, 36M, and I have been married for 5 years as of last week. Those 5 years have not been easy. For the first 3 years, we tried to have a baby. We went to 4 different fertility clinics across the state. I took hormones that made me gain weight and broke out in hives. Arthur had to give samples in sterile rooms with outdated magazines. We spent close to $40,000 on treatments that went nowhere. Every month when my period came, I would lock myself in the bathroom and sit on the floor until my legs went numb. Arthur would knock on the door and ask if I was okay. I would say yes even though I was not. 2 years ago, we stopped trying. Arthur sat me down at the kitchen table one Sunday morning and said we needed to talk. He said he could not keep doing this. He said watching me fall apart every month was too much for him. I agreed. We decided to move forward without children. I suggested adoption once. Arthur shut it down immediately. He said he could not raise a child that was not his own blood. He said it would not feel real to him. I did not push it. I was too tired to fight about anything at that point. My younger sister is named Denise, 29F. She has always been the one in the family who needed help. When she was 19, she dropped out of community college to move in with a guy who sold car parts out of his garage. That relationship lasted 8 months. Then there was another guy who worked at a plasma donation center and had a gambling problem. Then another who was supposedly starting a cryptocurrency business but mostly just smoked weed in his apartment. My stepmother Joyce has bailed Denise out of bad situations more times than I can count. Joyce married my father when I was 12 and Denise was 7. Our biological mother left when Denise was 2. Joyce raised us. She paid for Denise to go back to school twice. Denise dropped out both times. Last year, Denise told the family she was going back to school again. This time for a business degree. She said she wanted to get her MBA eventually. Joyce was cautiously optimistic. I did not think much of it. Denise has said things like this before. Arthur and I own a house in Beatfield Pines. It is a 4-bedroom house with a large backyard. We bought it 3 years ago thinking we would fill it with children. Now the extra bedrooms just collect dust. Arthur works in commercial real estate. He makes good money. I stopped working 2 years ago when the fertility treatments became a full-time job. After we stopped trying, I did not go back to work. Arthur said I did not need to. He said I should take time to figure out what I wanted to do next. I have been trying to figure that out for 2 years now. I send out resumes sometimes but nothing ever comes of it. Last week was our 5th wedding anniversary. Arthur made reservations at a restaurant called the Lantern House. It is the kind of place where they bring out 7 tiny courses and you leave still feeling hungry. Joyce was in town visiting her sister, so Arthur suggested we invite family to join us. I thought it was a nice idea. We invited Joyce, Denise, and Arthur's mother Charlotte, 61F. Arthur's younger brother Owen, 32M, and his wife Lydia, 33F, also came. Lydia works as a corporate attorney. She and Owen have been married for 4 years and have a 2-year-old daughter. The dinner was scheduled for 7 in the evening. I wore a navy blue dress I had not worn in a year because it finally fit me again. We arrived at the restaurant at 6:45. Joyce was already there. She hugged me and told me I looked beautiful. Denise arrived 10 minutes late. She was wearing jeans and a sweater. Charlotte arrived with Owen and Lydia shortly after. We were seated at a long table near the back of the restaurant. Arthur sat at the head of the table. I sat to his right. Denise sat across from me. The first course came out. It was some kind of foam with a piece of fish underneath. Charlotte complained that the portions were too small. Owen made a joke about needing to stop at a drive-thru on the way home. Everyone laughed. Arthur barely touched his food. I asked him if he was feeling okay. He said he was fine. His tone was sharp. I did not ask again. The second course arrived. Arthur picked up his wine glass and stood. I assumed he was going to make a toast. I smiled at him. He did not look at me. He looked at Denise. Then he said that he had an announcement to make. He said that over the past 8 months, he and Denise had fallen in love. I heard the words but they did not make sense right away. Charlotte gasped. Joyce stood up so fast her chair fell backward. Arthur kept talking. He said that Denise was 12 weeks pregnant. He said that this was a blessing for the family because now everyone would finally have the baby they had been waiting for. I looked at Denise. She was staring at her plate. Her face was red but she was not saying anything. Arthur continued. He said that he and Denise had talked about it and they had come up with a plan. Denise would move into our house. I would stay and help take care of the baby. Denise could focus on finishing her degree. Arthur said it would be a family arrangement. He used the word family 4 times in the same sentence. Charlotte started crying. But she was not crying because she was upset. She was thanking Arthur. She said she had prayed for a grandchild for years. She said God worked in mysterious ways. Owen put his head in his hands. Lydia was staring at Arthur like she had never seen him before. Joyce walked out of the restaurant. I heard the door slam. I stood up. My legs felt like they were not attached to my body. I tried to move toward Arthur, but Lydia grabbed my arm. She pulled me back into my chair. Denise finally looked up. She said my name. I did not respond. I picked up my water glass and threw it at Arthur. It missed. The glass shattered on the floor behind him. A waiter came over and asked if everything was okay. Arthur said it was fine. He put money on the table and said we were leaving. The drive home took 20 minutes. I sat in the passenger seat and stared out the window. Arthur did not say anything. When we got home, I went straight to our bedroom. I locked the door. I heard Arthur moving around the house. He did not come to the door. I sat on the floor of the bedroom and my stomach turned over. I made it to the bathroom just in time. I stayed there for an hour. When I came out, Arthur was not in the bedroom. I checked the guest room. He was asleep in there with the door closed. I did not sleep that night. I kept thinking about what Arthur had said. He wanted me to stay. He wanted me to take care of the baby. His baby. Denise's baby. I thought about the spare bedrooms. I thought about all the money we spent trying to have a child. I thought about how Arthur said he could not love a child that was not his blood. Denise's baby would be his blood. The baby would also be my blood. My niece or nephew. I started thinking maybe it could work. Maybe I could do it. I did not have a job. I did not have anywhere else to go. Arthur was right when he said I had nowhere to go. The next morning, Arthur knocked on the bedroom door. I opened it. He asked if we could talk. I said yes. We sat on the bed. He said he knew the announcement was a shock. He said he should have told me privately first. He said he did it publicly because he thought having the family there would make it easier. He said he loved me. He said Denise loved me too. He said the three of us could make this work. He said I could be the baby's primary mother. Denise did not have any maternal instincts anyway. He said it like it was a compliment to me. I asked him when it started. He said 8 months ago. Denise had come over to drop off some books Joyce wanted me to have. I was at a doctor's appointment. Arthur was working from home. They started talking. Then they started texting. Then it became more. He said it just happened. He said he did not plan it. I asked him if he loved her. He said he did not know. He said it was complicated. I asked him what would happen if I said no to his plan. He said we would figure something out. But his voice did not sound like he thought there was anything to figure out. I told him I needed time to think. He said that was fair. He left the room. I stayed on the bed for the rest of the morning. Around noon, my phone rang. It was Joyce. She asked where I was. I told her I was at home. She said she was coming to get me. Update 1: Joyce showed up at the house 2 hours after she called. I was still in the bedroom. I had not changed clothes. I had not showered. Arthur was at work. Joyce did not knock. She used the spare key I gave her years ago. She came into the bedroom and sat on the bed next to me. She did not say anything at first. Then she said we were leaving. I told her I did not know if I could. She said that was not a question. She started pulling clothes out of my dresser and putting them in a suitcase. It took us 2 hours to pack. Joyce filled 4 suitcases and 6 boxes. She loaded everything into her car. Arthur came home while we were carrying the last box out. He parked in the driveway and got out of his car. He asked what was happening. Joyce told him I was leaving. He said we needed to talk about this. Joyce said there was nothing to talk about. Arthur stepped in front of the door. He said I could not just leave. Joyce told him to move. He did not. Joyce pulled out her phone and said she was calling her lawyer. Arthur's face changed. He stepped aside. I have been staying with Joyce for 3 weeks now. Her house is smaller than mine. She only has 2 bedrooms. I am sleeping in her guest room. The walls are yellow. There are paintings of flowers everywhere. Joyce makes breakfast every morning. Eggs and toast. Sometimes pancakes. She does not ask me how I am doing. She just puts food in front of me and waits until I eat it. Denise has been texting me. She sent 43 messages in the first week. Most of them said the same thing. She said she was sorry. She said she did not mean for it to happen. She said Arthur pursued her. She said she tried to stop it but she could not. She said the baby was innocent. She said I was being selfish. Then the messages changed. She started calling me names. She said I was jealous. She said I was bitter because I could not have kids. She said I was ruining her chance at happiness. I have not responded to any of the messages. Joyce told me to save them. Arthur has been calling. He does not leave voicemails anymore. At first, he left long messages explaining his side. He said he still loved me. He said the baby was not a replacement for what we lost. He said Denise needed support and he thought I would understand that. Then the messages stopped. Now he just calls and hangs up when it goes to voicemail. 2 weeks ago, Owen and Lydia came to visit Joyce's house. I did not know they were coming. Joyce answered the door and brought them into the living room. Owen sat down and said he needed to apologize. He said he should have said something at the dinner. He said he was in shock. Lydia did not sit down. She stood in the middle of the room with her arms crossed. She said Arthur had called her the day after I left. He asked her to represent him in the divorce. He told her I had threatened him. He told her I was unstable. Lydia said she told him to find another lawyer. Then Lydia said she would represent me. She said she would do it without charging me. Owen nodded. He said his brother had lost his mind. He said he did not recognize Arthur anymore. Lydia pulled papers out of her bag. Divorce papers. She said she had already started the process. She just needed me to sign. I signed them. Lydia said she would have Arthur served within the week. Arthur was served at his office. Lydia told me this over the phone. She said he called her afterward. He said family was supposed to support family. Lydia said she told him she was supporting family. Just not him. Arthur has not called me since. Joyce has been talking to people. I do not know who exactly. But I started getting messages from people I have not spoken to in years. Cousins. Old friends from high school. People from the church Joyce used to attend. They all said the same thing. They said they heard what happened. They said they were sorry. They said Arthur and Denise were wrong. One woman I barely remember from high school sent me a message saying she saw Denise at the grocery store and walked the other way. Another said she saw Arthur at a gas station and he looked miserable. Charlotte has been calling Joyce. Joyce does not answer. Charlotte leaves voicemails. In the first one, she said Joyce was turning the family against Arthur. In the second one, she said the baby was a gift and we were all being ungrateful. In the third one, she said she would never forgive Joyce for ruining her relationship with her son. Joyce deleted all of them. I have started looking for jobs again. Joyce helped me update my resume. I have had 3 interviews in the past 2 weeks. One was for a receptionist position at a dental office. One was for an administrative assistant at a law firm. One was for a customer service role at an insurance company. I have not heard back from any of them yet. But at least I am trying. I am eating breakfast every morning now. Joyce still makes it. But I get out of bed on my own. Denise sent another message yesterday. This one was different. She said Arthur was not the person she thought he was. She said he was controlling. She said he had been pressuring her to move into the house even though I was gone. She said he kept talking about the baby like it was his property. She said she was thinking about leaving him. I did not respond to that message either. Joyce said Denise was trying to manipulate me. Joyce said Denise always does this when things do not go her way. Update 2: the divorce is moving forward. Lydia said it should be finalized in another 3 months. Arthur tried to fight it at first. He said we should go to mediation. Lydia said no. Arthur tried to claim I abandoned the house. Lydia said I left because of his affair. Arthur said it was not an affair because he told me about it. Lydia said that was not how it worked. Arthur stopped fighting after that. I got a job. It is the administrative assistant position at the law firm. I started 2 weeks ago. The pay is not great but it is enough. Joyce said I could stay with her as long as I needed. But I have been looking at apartments. There is a 1-bedroom place about 15 minutes from the law firm. I am supposed to see it next week. Denise is still with Arthur. She moved into the house a month ago. Joyce heard this from Charlotte. Charlotte called Joyce to tell her the news. Charlotte said Denise was settling in well. She said Arthur had painted one of the spare bedrooms for the nursery. Charlotte said she was planning a baby shower. Joyce hung up on her. Owen called me last week. He said Arthur was not doing well. He said Arthur had been calling him late at night. Arthur told Owen that Denise was not the person he thought she was. Arthur said Denise was demanding. She wanted him to buy her a new car. She wanted him to pay for her classes. She wanted him to hire a cleaning service because she did not want to do housework. Owen said Arthur sounded tired. Owen also said Arthur asked about me. He wanted to know if I was seeing anyone. Owen told him that was none of his business. Joyce has stopped talking to Denise completely. Denise tried to come to Joyce's house 3 weeks ago. Joyce did not let her in. Denise stood on the porch and cried. She said she needed her mother. Joyce said she had made her choice. Denise left. She has not come back. I saw Arthur 2 weeks ago. It was not planned. I was at the grocery store. He was in the frozen food aisle. I saw him before he saw me. I turned my cart around and went the other way. But he must have seen me because he followed me. He caught up to me in the cereal aisle. He said my name. I kept walking. He grabbed my arm. I pulled away. He said he needed to talk to me. I told him to let go. He did. Then he started talking anyway. He said he made a mistake. He said Denise was not who he thought she was. He said she was using him. He said he still loved me. He asked if we could try again. I told him no. I told him to leave me alone. He stood there for a minute. Then he walked away. Lydia told me Arthur tried to hire a private investigator to follow me. The investigator called Lydia to verify some information. Lydia told him the case was a divorce and nothing else. The investigator said Arthur told him I was hiding assets. Lydia said there were no hidden assets. The investigator apologized and said he would not take the case. Lydia told me this over coffee. She said Arthur was getting desperate. Denise is due in 3 months. Charlotte has been posting about it on social media. Joyce showed me the posts. Pictures of baby clothes. Posts about becoming a grandmother. Comments about how blessed she is. Joyce said it made her sick. I did not look at the posts for very long. I went on a date last week. A man from the law firm asked me to dinner. His name is Greg, 38M. He works in the mailroom. We went to a casual restaurant. Nothing fancy. We talked about work. He told me about his kids from his previous marriage. He did not ask me about my divorce. I appreciated that. At the end of the night, he walked me to my car. He asked if he could see me again. I said maybe. I have not decided yet. Update 3: The divorce was finalized last month. I got half of everything. The house will be sold. Arthur tried to argue that he should keep it because Denise and the baby were living there. The judge did not care. Arthur has to buy me out or sell. He chose to sell. The house is on the market now. Lydia said it should sell quickly. Denise had the baby 6 weeks ago. A boy. Charlotte posted pictures. Joyce saw them. I did not look. Owen told me Arthur was overwhelmed. The baby cries constantly. Denise does not help much. She tells Arthur she is too tired. Arthur is doing most of the work. Owen said Arthur looks like he has aged 10 years. Denise and Arthur are fighting. Owen hears about it from Charlotte. Charlotte complains that they are too loud. The neighbors have complained too. Denise wants to leave. But she has nowhere to go. Joyce will not take her back. Denise's friends from before do not want anything to do with her. She is stuck. I moved into the apartment last month. It is small but it is mine. 1 bedroom. A kitchen with a window. A bathroom with a shower that actually has good water pressure. Joyce helped me move. Owen and Lydia came too. We ordered pizza after everything was unpacked. It felt normal. I am still seeing Greg. It is not serious. We go out once a week. Sometimes twice. He makes me laugh. He does not ask about my past. I do not ask about his. It works for now. Arthur texted me 2 weeks ago. He said he was sorry. He said he ruined everything. He said he wished he could go back. I did not respond. I blocked his number after that. Joyce came over for dinner last night. I made spaghetti. We sat at my small kitchen table and ate. She told me she was proud of me. I told her I could not have done it without her. She said that was not true. She said I was stronger than I thought. I did not argue with her. I start taking classes next month. Business management. I figured it was time to finish what I started years ago. The law firm is paying for half of it. I will go part-time. It will take me 3 years to finish. But I have time. Denise sent me a message last week. She said she was sorry. Again. She said she knew I would never forgive her. She said she just wanted me to know that she regretted everything. I read the message. Then I deleted it. I do not have anything to say to her. I am doing okay. That is the best way to describe it. I am not where I thought I would be at 35. But I am not in that house anymore. I am not sitting on the bathroom floor. I am not waiting for Arthur to come home. I am not wondering if Denise will text. I am just here. In my apartment. With my job. With my classes starting soon. Now let's move to the next story. Story 2: I recognized my fiancé's cousin at a family dinner as a one-night stand from years ago. Then her 5-year-old son walked in looking exactly like me. When I told my fiancé the truth, her reaction shocked me. 4 days ago, my world turned upside down in a single evening. My fiancée Jackie, 27F, and I, 30M, were invited to dinner at her parents' house. This wasn't anything unusual. We've had countless meals there since we started dating 3 years ago. What made this dinner different was that Jackie's cousin Christina, 34F, was visiting from out of state with her husband Greg and their 5-year-old son Ethan. I had never met Christina before, despite Jackie talking about her a lot. They grew up together and were close, but due to distance and my work schedule, our paths never crossed during Christina's previous visits. Jackie was excited for us to finally meet. She told me stories about their childhood adventures and how Christina had always been like a big sister to her. We arrived at Jackie's parents' house around 6 p.m. Her mom opened the door and welcomed us with hugs before ushering us into the living room where everyone was gathered. Jackie's dad was chatting with a man I assumed was Greg, Christina's husband. That's when I saw her, a woman sitting on the couch who looked up as we entered. The moment our eyes met, her expression changed. Her smile faltered, and her eyes widened slightly. There was something familiar about her, but I couldn't place it immediately. Jackie made the introductions. When she introduced me to Christina, I shook her hand and noticed she held on a beat too long while staring at my face. She recovered quickly and said something about finally meeting me, but throughout the conversation that followed, I caught her glancing at me repeatedly. About 20 minutes into our visit, Jackie's mom brought in Christina's son, who had been playing in the backyard. The boy ran in, covered in dirt from playing, and my heart nearly stopped. Looking at him was like seeing myself at that age. He had the same nose, the same chin, the same way his eyes crinkled when he smiled. There were traces of Christina in him too, but almost nothing of Greg, who stood beside Christina with his arm around her shoulders. That's when it hit me. My mind flashed back to a night almost 6 years ago. I was at a bar downtown where I spent most weekends back then. I spotted an attractive woman drinking alone and approached her. We got to talking, and after several drinks, we ended up leaving together. I remembered being struck by her confidence and the way she matched me drink for drink. I took her back to my place. We were both drunk, and when the topic of protection came up, I convinced her we didn't need it. I showed her my recent blood test results on my phone. I was regularly tested back then due to my lifestyle, and she said she was clean too. The next morning, she was gone before I woke up. I never saw her again, never got her number, and honestly never thought about her again until that moment in Jackie's parents' living room. That woman was Christina. As the realization dawned on me, I broke into a cold sweat. My hands started shaking, and I spilled some of my drink on myself. Jackie asked if I was okay, and I mumbled something about not feeling well. The timing fit perfectly, 6 years ago, 9 months before Ethan was born. Looking at him now, there was no doubt in my mind. This was my biological son. Throughout dinner, I couldn't stop stealing glances at Ethan. Each time I looked at him, I saw more of myself. The way he held his fork, his mannerisms, even the way he laughed. I caught Christina watching me watching him, her expression unreadable. The food tasted like cardboard in my mouth, and I barely participated in the conversation. Jackie kept throwing concerned looks my way, but I avoided her gaze. My mind was racing. I wondered if Christina had been visiting Jackie the weekend we met. Was Jackie at the same bar that night? Did she know what happened between Christina and me? Had Christina ever told anyone? Does Greg know? These questions swirled in my head, making it impossible to focus on anything else. After dinner, while everyone moved to the living room for coffee and dessert, I excused myself to use the bathroom. I splashed cold water on my face and stared at my reflection in the mirror. The man looking back at me seemed like a stranger. I had built a life with Jackie over the past 3 years, the best years of my life. We had plans for the future, including children of our own in a few years. Now it seemed my past had caught up with me in the most unexpected way. Before meeting Jackie, I was admittedly terrible with women. I used them and discarded them without a second thought. I moved from one conquest to another, never forming any meaningful connections. Jackie knew about my past, and it took her a long time to trust me. When we first met at a mutual friend's wedding, she saw right through me. I spent nearly a year trying to convince her to go out with me, proving that I had changed. Eventually, she gave me a chance, and I've never looked back. Now, looking at my reflection, I wondered if all that progress was about to unravel. If Jackie found out that her cousin's son was actually mine, would she leave me? The thought made me physically ill. She is the best thing that ever happened to me. We're supposed to get married in 4 months. Her parents already treat me like a son. I get along with her entire family. We've built a life together in the apartment we've shared for the past 2 years. When I returned to the living room, Jackie was playing with Ethan. Watching them together, oblivious to the truth, was torture. Christina sat across the room, her eyes darting between us, and I knew she recognized me too. By the time we left, I was a complete wreck. I claimed I had food poisoning, which explained my sweaty, pale appearance, and Jackie didn't question it. The next morning, I called in sick to work. I couldn't face people or focus on anything. I spent the day in bed, alternating between panic and numbness. I did the same thing the following day. Jackie assumed I had some sort of stomach bug and took care of me, bringing me soup and medicine. Her kindness only made me feel worse. Now it's been 4 days, and I'm still paralyzed by indecision. I don't know what to do. Should I tell Jackie? Should I confront Christina? Should I just keep quiet and hope it all blows over? Looking at our calendar, I noticed Ethan's birthday falls almost exactly 9 months after my encounter with Christina. The timing lines up perfectly. I'm about 95% certain he's mine, based on the timing and his appearance. I'm terrified of losing Jackie. She struggled to accept my promiscuous past when we first got together. Finding out I fathered her cousin's child might be too much for her to handle. She has strong opinions about trashy behavior, and this situation certainly qualifies. But I also can't stand the idea of living with this secret, especially now that Christina and her family are back in our lives. To be clear, I never cheated on Jackie. This happened long before I even met her. But that might not matter in the face of such a bombshell. As for the boy, Ethan seemed happy with Christina and Greg. They live several states away, so it's not like I would run into them regularly. But knowing I have a son out there, a son who doesn't know I'm his father, who has another man raising him, is eating me up inside. I love Jackie more than anything. We've talked about having kids of our own in 3 or 4 years, after we're settled in our careers and marriage. The idea that I already have a child, and that child is her cousin's son, feels like a cruel joke. I don't know what to do. Tell Jackie everything and risk losing her? Confront Christina privately? Keep the secret and live with this knowledge forever? Whatever I decide, someone gets hurt: Jackie, Ethan, Christina and her husband, or me. There's no way out of this that doesn't cause pain. I've barely slept in days, and I can't keep calling in sick to work. I need to make a decision, but I'm paralyzed by fear. Update 1 first, I want to thank everyone who commented on my original post. Reading your responses gave me the courage to do what I knew was right, even though it terrified me. Special thanks to user TheTruthSeeker499, whose comment about secrets eventually coming out one way or another finally pushed me to action. 3 days after writing my original post, I told Jackie everything. I couldn't take the anxiety anymore. I hadn't slept properly in a week, I'd lost 5 pounds from barely eating, and I was having trouble focusing at work. The weight of the secret was crushing me. That night, after dinner, I asked Jackie if we could talk. We sat down on our bed, and I held her hands. I started crying before I even got the first words out. Jackie looked alarmed but stayed quiet, letting me gather myself. I told her everything, about recognizing Christina at dinner, remembering our one-night stand from 6 years ago, the shock of seeing Ethan and realizing he was almost certainly my biological son. I explained how scared I'd been to tell her, how afraid I was that she would leave me over this. I admitted to feeling horrible about the situation but emphasized that I had no idea about Ethan's existence until that dinner. Throughout my explanation, Jackie sat quietly, holding my hands. When I finished, she took a deep breath and asked why I hadn't told her immediately after the dinner. I explained how terrified I was of losing her, how I needed time to process everything myself. She told me she was upset that I'd waited so long to tell her, making it clear that in the future, she expected immediate honesty no matter how difficult the situation. But then she squeezed my hands and said she wasn't leaving me. The fact that this happened before we met meant it wasn't a betrayal of our relationship. She said, "We've dealt with your past before, and we'll figure this out too." The relief I felt was overwhelming. For the first time in a week, I could breathe again. But Jackie wasn't finished. She said that now that my past had literally shown up at her parents' dinner table, we needed to have a more detailed conversation about my previous lifestyle. When we first got together, she had accepted the broad strokes of my past without wanting specific details. Now, she wanted to know everything to ensure there would be no more surprises in the future. I agreed, though the prospect of diving into my past mistakes wasn't appealing. After our talk, Jackie decided she would contact Christina herself to understand the situation from her perspective. The next morning, Jackie tried calling Christina several times. No answer. She sent multiple text messages too. Nothing. Finally, late that afternoon, Christina responded with a single text, "Please just let it go." Jackie replied, asking if they could at least have a quick conversation or text exchange. Christina's response was the same, "Just let it go, please." We figured Christina had realized I'd told Jackie the truth. Jackie was hurt by her cousin's refusal to talk, but after discussing it, we decided to respect Christina's wishes, at least for now. Our priority was each other and our upcoming wedding. Speaking of the wedding, the day after this text exchange, Christina changed her RSVP from yes to no. Jackie was upset, but I was secretly relieved. The idea of facing Christina, Greg, and Ethan at our wedding was more stress than I wanted to deal with. With the immediate crisis somewhat diffused, Jackie and I turned to our more in-depth conversation about my past. It was difficult and uncomfortable, but ultimately strengthening for our relationship. I answered all of her questions honestly, no matter how embarrassing or shameful the answers were. When we finished, Jackie thanked me for my honesty and said she felt confident there would be no more surprises. The situation with Christina and Ethan remains unresolved. We don't know if Greg knows the truth. We don't know how Christina feels about the situation beyond her obvious desire to avoid discussing it. Most importantly, we don't know what, if anything, we should do about Ethan. Jackie checked some old photos and confirmed that Christina and Greg had been together for at least 10 years, meaning she was definitely in a relationship with him when our one-night stand occurred. This added another layer of complication to an already messy situation. For now, we're taking things one day at a time. The wedding planning continues, and our relationship feels stronger after weathering this storm together. I'm grateful to Jackie for her understanding and commitment to our future. The physical symptoms of anxiety that plagued me for that terrible week have subsided, confirming that telling the truth was the right decision. Some of you asked in the comments how I feel about potentially being a father. The truth is, I don't know. Seeing Ethan was a shock, and the resemblance between us is undeniable. But he has a father, Greg, who has raised him from birth. He seemed like a happy, well-adjusted kid with 2 parents who love him. Would inserting myself into his life as his biological father benefit him in any way? Or would it just cause confusion and pain? These are questions Jackie and I will continue to discuss in the coming weeks and months. For now, we're respecting Christina's wish to let it go, but that doesn't mean we'll never revisit the issue. At some point, we may need to have a more direct conversation about what's best for everyone involved, especially Ethan. In a few years, Jackie and I plan to move to another state for career opportunities. That will put even more distance between us and Christina's family, which might be for the best given the circumstances. Still, I can't help wondering if someday, Ethan will come looking for answers about his parentage. If that day comes, I hope to handle it with more grace and honesty than I've shown so far. Update 2. It's been 2 months since my last update, and there have been some developments I wanted to share. Our wedding is now just 2 months away, and preparations are in full swing. Jackie and I have been busy with venue details, catering decisions, and finalizing the guest list. Despite the situation with Christina and Ethan, we've managed to stay focused on our future together. About 3 weeks after my last update, Jackie received a package in the mail. It was a wedding gift from Christina, an expensive set of crystal glasses we had registered for, along with a card. The card simply said, "Wishing you both a lifetime of happiness. Sorry we can't attend. Love, Christina, Greg, and Ethan." No mention of our situation, no acknowledgement of what happened at the dinner or the text exchange afterward. Just a normal wedding gift and card. Jackie called her mom to ask if she knew anything about Christina's decision not to attend the wedding. Apparently, Christina told the family that Greg had a work commitment they couldn't get out of. Jackie's mom mentioned that she thought it was strange since Christina had been so excited about the wedding before, but she didn't question it further. A week later, Christina started responding to some of Jackie's regular texts, nothing related to our situation, just normal cousin stuff. Pictures of Ethan at his T-ball game, updates on her job, comments about a TV show they both watch. It was as if she was trying to maintain their relationship while completely ignoring the elephant in the room. Jackie was conflicted about this. On one hand, she values her relationship with Christina and was hurt by the initial stonewalling. On the other hand, she feels like they're now pretending nothing happened, which seems dishonest. After discussing it, we decided that Jackie would continue normal communication with Christina for now. Maybe, with time, Christina will be more willing to address the situation directly. As for me, I've been doing a lot of thinking about Ethan. Some of the comments on my previous posts called me selfish for not immediately claiming paternity and fighting for custody or visitation. I want to address that. Ethan is 5 years old. He has a father, Greg, who has raised him since birth. From what I could tell during our brief meeting, they have a good relationship. Greg was attentive, patient, and clearly loved the boy. Ethan seemed happy and well-adjusted. Would it really benefit Ethan to have his entire world turned upside down? To learn that the man he calls dad isn't his biological father? To suddenly have a stranger claim paternity and demand to be part of his life? I'm not convinced it would. From what Jackie has gathered through family conversations, Christina and Greg are financially stable with good careers. They own a nice home in a good school district. They take family vacations and provide Ethan with opportunities for sports and other activities. In contrast, Jackie and I are still establishing our careers. We live in a one-bedroom apartment and have student loans to pay off. We're not ready for children yet, that's why we plan to wait a few years before starting our family. I'm not trying to avoid responsibility. If I had known about Ethan from the beginning, I would have stepped up. But I didn't know, and now there's an established family unit that seems to be functioning well. Disrupting that might cause more harm than good. That said, I still think about him. I look at the few photos of him on Jackie's family members' social media accounts. I wonder what he's like, what interests he has, whether he inherited any of my talents or quirks beyond his physical appearance. I wonder if someday he'll notice our resemblance in family photos and start asking questions. I wonder what Christina has told Greg, if anything. Jackie and I have talked extensively about what we would do if Ethan ever reached out to us when he's older. We agreed that we would be honest with him about the situation while respecting Christina and Greg's role as his parents. We would make it clear that our distance wasn't due to a lack of caring, but what we believed was best for him at the time. In other news, Jackie and I had our first appointment with a financial advisor to plan for our future. We discussed our goals, paying off student loans, saving for a house, and eventually having children of our own. The advisor asked if we had any other financial obligations to consider. Jackie looked at me, and I hesitated before saying no. Technically, I don't have any legal obligations to Ethan, but the moment felt dishonest nonetheless. It's these small moments that remind me this situation isn't fully resolved, even if we've reached a temporary truce. Some commenters asked if I've considered a paternity test. The answer is yes, I've thought about it, but I don't see how I could request one without completely disrupting the fragile peace we've established. The resemblance between Ethan and me is so strong that I feel 95% certain he's mine. The timing aligns perfectly. For now, I'm proceeding as if paternity is a given, while acknowledging there's a small chance I could be wrong. I still have moments of guilt when I think about my past behavior. The irresponsible one-night stand with Christina was just one example of how I treated women back then. I'm grateful every day that Jackie gave me a chance to prove I had changed. This situation has been a stark reminder of how our past actions can have far-reaching consequences, even years later. Update 3. It's been 6 months since my last update, and our lives have settled into a new normal. Jackie and I got married in a beautiful ceremony surrounded by friends and family. Christina, Greg, and Ethan did not attend, but they sent another gift and a card congratulating us. Jackie's family asked about their absence, and we stuck to the story about Greg's work commitment. The wedding was perfect despite this underlying tension. Jackie looked stunning, and I couldn't believe my luck as I watched her walk down the aisle. We honeymooned in Costa Rica for 2 weeks, putting the whole situation out of our minds temporarily. It was exactly what we needed, time to focus just on each other and our future together. When we returned, reality came back into focus. Jackie got a promotion at work that will require us to relocate next year, sooner than we had originally planned. The move will take us even further from Christina's family, which seems like both a relief and a missed opportunity. Part of me thought proximity might eventually lead to a resolution, but another part is grateful for the physical distance. About 2 months ago, Jackie's parents hosted a family reunion. Christina's family attended, which meant seeing them for the first time since that fateful dinner. Jackie and I discussed how to handle it extensively beforehand. We decided to be cordial but not force any interactions. If Christina wanted to talk about the situation, we would follow her lead. If not, we would respect her boundaries. The reunion was awkward at first. Christina avoided being alone with either of us, and Greg seemed oblivious to any tension. He chatted with me about sports and work as if we were just casual acquaintances, which I suppose is what he thinks we are. Ethan ran around with the other children, occasionally stopping to show Greg something he found or did. Watching their interactions was both painful and reassuring. Painful because I was witnessing father-son moments I would never have with him, but reassuring because they clearly had a strong bond. At one point during the reunion, I found myself alone with Ethan for a brief moment. He had tripped and scraped his knee near where I was sitting. I helped him up and asked if he was okay. He nodded bravely, trying not to cry. I pulled a tissue from my pocket and wiped the dirt from his knee, telling him he was tough. He looked up at me with eyes so similar to mine and thanked me before running off to play again. The entire interaction lasted maybe 30 seconds, but it affected me deeply. Later that day, I noticed Christina watching me from across the yard. Our eyes met briefly before she looked away. A few minutes later, she approached Jackie and me while we were getting food from the buffet. She asked about our new house and the upcoming move. The conversation was strained but civil. As she was about to walk away, she paused and said quietly, "He's happy. That's what matters most." Then she rejoined her family before either of us could respond. Those 6 words were the only acknowledgement she has ever made of the situation. Jackie and I discussed them extensively on the drive home. We took it as confirmation of what we had suspected. Christina knows Ethan is biologically mine but has chosen to maintain her family unit with Greg. Her statement seemed to be both a reassurance and a plea to let things remain as they are. We respected her wishes. For the rest of the reunion and in the months since, we've maintained cordial but distant relations with Christina's family. Jackie still texts with Christina occasionally, keeping the conversation light and focused on day-to-day life rather than the underlying truth. Last month, Jackie and I started seriously discussing having children of our own. With the promotion and move, our financial situation will be more stable, and we feel ready to take that step sooner than our original timeline. The conversations have been exciting but tinged with an undercurrent of complication. When Jackie asked how I felt about becoming a father, I had to swallow hard before answering honestly that I was looking forward to it. We both knew the unspoken reality, that in biological terms, I already am one. Yesterday, Jackie received a Christmas card from Christina. Inside was a school photo of Ethan, now 6 years old and missing his 2 front teeth. The resemblance between us seems even stronger now, particularly in his smile. Jackie asked if I wanted to keep the photo. I said no, but I looked at it for a long time before she put it away with the other family photos. As we prepare for our move in the next chapter of our lives, I find myself thinking about Ethan less frequently but more intensely when I do. I wonder if he'll ever learn the truth. I wonder if Greg knows or suspects. I wonder if we made the right decision by respecting Christina's wish to let it go. For now, we're moving forward with our lives. The new house, Jackie's promotion, and our plans for a family keep us focused on the future rather than the past. We've agreed that if Ethan ever reaches out to us when he's older, we'll be honest with him. Until then, we will continue to respect the boundaries that have been established, however unspoken they may be. In the end, I believe we've made the best decision for everyone involved, particularly Ethan. He has a stable, loving family. Disrupting that out of some sense of biological entitlement would serve my needs, not his. Sometimes the most responsible parenting decision is to step back and let someone else do the job when they're already doing it well. This will be my final update unless something significant changes. Thank you to everyone who offered advice and support throughout this complicated situation. Your perspectives helped Jackie and me navigate a challenge we never expected to face.
When you have more muscle mass, everything else kind of falls into place. Without the protein, you're not going to build lean mass because of this conditioning that we've had in the fitness industry, that if you lift a weight, you're going to look like a man. It is very difficult for most women to build muscle.
Why are there so many women that are so scared of the word weightlifting? Or is it 2 words? Both the words, weightlifting. Women are scared of it. And I notice it even when I bring it up on my own Instagram stories, I get hit with resistance to it. Like, yes. People are like, I don't want to get bulky. I feel like you're the perfect person to ask this to.
Well, I think there's so many things that come to mind. Number one, I think it's all marketing. I think that historically, fitness has been, women need to be as small as possible and women need to lean down and tone up, and lifting weights will make you look like a man. So I think we are trying to get away from a lot of that history behind why women should exercise in the first place. So I think that's the first thing. I think